Hello and welcome to another Pat Bear's Anime Club. I'm Pat Bear. It would be weird if I wasn't. And this is my ongoing video series where I take a look at something from the world of anime that I just kind of want to talk about. Sometimes it's a deep dive about a particular theme or a subgenre that I'm into. Maybe it's talking about the anime that just came out or is about to come out. Um, and this came out. Look, this is always a question. We are not debating subs versus dubs here right now. But we are going to be talking about, or at least I'm going to be talking about, my favorite dubs. And in the comment section below, you can tell me if I'm wrong about my favorite dubs or not. It's your opinion, I guess. Or you could tell me about your favorite dubs. Or if you are a dubs only person, what about a sub that you liked because you were like, you couldn't wait, you had to watch a subtitle because you couldn't wait for the dub to come out? You could let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. And also, if you have suggestions of future things you'd like to see me do, maybe it's like, hey, talk about this genre, or talk about the anime of the 90s that, like the forgotten gems of the early 90s, or whatever. Like, let me know in the comments what you'd like to see me talk about here. Would you like another ranking of isekai? Because there aren't 11 isekai out this season, but there are quite a few, so I could rank those. But right now, I gotta get into talking about my favorite dubs. I am a subs guy. That is my preference, but I don't have a problem with some dubs here and there. And here are a few of my favorites. The first being G Gundam, which might not be one that is one of your faves. This wasn't my first Gundam series, but it was one that I definitely loved, and um, I don't think I prefer per se, but I've watched more of it in dub than I have in subbed form. Now, obviously, there are some, not obviously, you might not know this, there are some changes that were made to it. Um, Instead of the God Gundam, it is the Shining Gundam. Instead of the Devil Gundam, it is the Dark Gundam, and it's the Dark Army instead of the Devil Army. And there are a few things here and there that have changed. And because it's the 90s and television in America, I get it. Dolmon's English voice actor rules as the main character. You can see him there with his fist, his burning fist. These hands of mine are burning red. They tell me to defeat you. It's classic. He's great. His reactions are great. It's got that like brooding, but also painfully awkward main character vibe going so well. The voice actress who's doing Rain does a great job of playing off of him. I think everyone's putting in a great performance. I would say it's a fairly muted performance from Schwartz, but I think everybody else is doing it incredibly well. It is. I think it does hold up and it works. Um, and it's obviously a bias. There's a biasy there because yeah, I mean I like it, so it's good. I mean we're gonna talk about a few of those that I like them because they're good. Yu Yu Hakusho. This all really comes down to Yusuke isn't bad. It's not a bad vocal choice for Yusuke, who not every shonen, but many shonen, he is way too young for the responsibilities and his attitude because he's a teenager. Like I would say outside of a good modern day, like, hey, you're about as young as you should be. You have a lot of weight on your shoulders, but like, I don't know, like My Hero Academia kind of handles that all right. Maybe even Demon Slayer. There's still big things they're dealing with, but they still feel like teenagers, whereas Yusuke just feels like an adult for the entire thing. A shitty adult, but an adult nonetheless. Um, Really, it comes down to Kuwabara's voice actor. He's just kicking so much ass. He gets the highs of the characters, the goofiness, the loudness. He gets the brooding that I'm going to do this and I'm determined to do it. They can flip on a dime. This photo is the tournament, and that really showcases it of him just being like, oh, everything's lost. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull this off. I'm probably going to die here too. Wait, is that the girl I like? The girl I like is here? Oh, hell yeah. I'm about to kick some ass. I'm rejuvenated. I can take care of anything. Um, the voice actor for Clover does such an incredible job. I've I've watched a lot of the subtitled as well, but the dub holds a special place in my heart because I think that everyone is doing a great job in this. It's like A plus work from everybody. You knew I had to talk about Cowboy Bebop, right? Like the person watching this right now, you sitting there or standing there, maybe you're standing, maybe you got a standing desk. You knew I was going to talk about Cowboy Bebop because it's the gold standard for dubs. It's There's no stunt casting. These are just incredibly talented voice actors doing incredible work. Uh, Look, if you're going to dub a Megumi Hanashibara role, especially if it is her gender, because she's played gentleman before as well. But you're going to step into the shoes, you got to be A plus. But Spike is great. I mean, Jet is so good that the live action has a black actor portraying him. Uh, because that voice actor is so like Jet Black's voice actor is so iconic and unbelievable that it's just like, well, yeah, you got like that's a black role, even if it isn't. Is it? I don't know. Um, Everybody's great in it. Everyone does a kick-ass job. Everyone's believable. The emotional roller coasters that Spike goes through, his highs and lows. You believe it, you buy it, the whole thing. Does it help that some of the soundtrack is in English? Maybe. That some of the songs are in English, and so it feels right, and you don't have to dub over those. Perhaps. I do want to go back real quick. I just want to say having the the opening theme to Yu Yu Hakusho be done by a Canadian artist and that sounds like the Japanese artist. It's not a literal translation. It's not. It's a sound alike, but it's so perfect that it feels like it's just like, oh, they hired her to sing it. They didn't, but it's perfect. I forgot to mention that, and I wanted to because I don't give enough shout outs to music because I can't include them in these videos. Anyway, back to Cowboy Bebop and how it fucking kicks ass. You may have noticed the three I'm talking about here are things I watched in the 90s when I was watching things on Cartoon Network, and or I was renting VHS dubs. Um, that was how I was watching it. So if I watched it first, I often prefer the dub, and I think that's kind of the trouble of this. Like, it took a while for me to get used to Pokemon not being a dub, watching the sub Pokemon and hearing the names of Pokemon be in Japanese. That took a long time for me to get used to. I think I jumped in, into Gundam Wing pretty easily from the Gundam dub. G Gundam took a little while because I watched it several times. It takes a little while to jump back to that. Like, um, and I think that's the big thing. It's like, yeah, I'm okay with that dub because I like it. Now, I'm not going to include Dragon Ball here on that because I think the secondary Dragon Ball Z dub is fine. The first one isn't great, but Goku is like, nah, sorry. My apologies. Like, as much as I love some of the dub voice acting, a lot of it's not good, and the sub is what I prefer. Um, I've gotten used to that. Like the fact that Goten and Gohan and Goku all have the same voice actress is just like, yep, that's how it should be in my head. That's what it is. Um, it's like as much as Dub Vegeta is iconic. Sorry, Chris, I still want to hear the subtitle. I want to hear the Japanese voice actors. Um, So I do want to include this video, and this is going to be shorter than some of my videos because this was just like, this is a question that get asked a lot of people. I just saw this on an anime video. Somebody asked like, "Hey, what are your favorite dubs?" And it made me think, what are my favorite dubs? That's actually why I'm doing this, is because it was like, oh, I want to talk about that. Let's talk about a couple modern dubs that I like. Now, these are shows that I have watched the subtitled version first and then watched the dub. And I specifically did it because people that I know in the internet, I don't want to say real life because we have not met in person, but we're Twitter friends, we're mutuals. We've talked to each other on the internet at some point. We like each other's tweets. They're in the dubs, and so I wanted to watch them. Now, one of them is fairly prolific and has been in many shows, but he plays a supporting major minor character in Kuma Bear. Um, and so I was like, I want to check this out. And I think the hey, the ladies are doing great work on this. This is a lady-centric show, lady forward, and I think everyone's doing great. My friend plays Cliff, who is the local lord, and he does a great job with it. He's got this regalness that works very well for the role. Um, Kuma Bear might not be a dub that you've checked out. Hey, it might not be a subtitled show that you've checked out, but please do because it's great. Um, it is a played a video game, then I woke up inside the video game isekai. Um, but it's also very cute and fun. And Yuna is not your typical overpowered protagonist. She doesn't want to be left alone, but she's also very goddamn opinionated and food focused, which I love. And yeah, I think White Shank does a great job as Cliff. Um, and we'll talk about Black Clover. Which is hey, you can get caught up on Black Clover now because they're not making it a season or weekly anymore. So you can catch up on Black Clover if you want to, because I think it's a lot of fun. And maybe the dub will satisfy you, because perhaps the dub won't hurt your ears as much. Because one of the early complaints in Black Clover the hurdle you have to get over is that the Japanese voice actor is just yelling all the time as Asta, the main character, the guy with the sword. Because that's a character who yells all the time. He's not mad. Sometimes he is, but most of the time he's just excited. It's just he uses an outdoor voice inside. That's his thing. And our voice actor for the dub, who again we follow each other on Twitter. It's weird and cool. We've not met in person, but it's neat. These are brags. These are brags. These aren't humble brags. These are just brags. He It's not as overpowering. And I got used to Asta because he is such a good boy that I'm like, yeah, he yells, but whatever. But he's got problems. Uh, he's not a siscon like another character in the show, so how mad can I be? Or he's not an edge lord. Uh, so I think the my one complaint is that it's very hard to convey. I think Gordon in a dub. Gordon is the character all the way on the right. He's the goth dude who just talks very quietly and mumbles. But sometimes he doesn't. And I think that's harder to convey in English than it is in the Japanese, in the subtitle when you're reading what he's saying as a mumble instead of having to hear him say it as a mumble. Um, and so I can understand why that doesn't work as well. But I think the dub for this is quality. I think people are working very hard for the wide variety and the cast of characters, a lot of whom are not, they might be typical, but they do have range to them. Um, so I think that's a good modern example. I don't have a lot of modern examples because, like I said, I don't watch a lot of dubs. Um, because we live in a golden age of getting the subtitled anime. Um, there are shows that we wouldn't see until they were on television, and then maybe there'd be a VHS or a DVD of it, and you could go and watch the subtitle, but you weren't going to watch it. Now, were there networks, cable networks, like high-end cable networks that were going to show some subtitles? Yes. Could you find that? Sure. You could find VHS to rent or buy that had it. You could find fan subs. True. But I know a lot of people of my generation, one of the reasons they're not into One Piece is because the 4Kids dub of One Piece is awful. So it's hard to be into One Piece when you're like in your late 30s, early 40s, because you remember how shitty that dub was. But good dubs are still good, and they can bring people in, and then maybe they'll continue to watch because not every episode was dubbed, or there would be breaks, and you could find them and continue watching the series, and then maybe you got used to it. That's how it happened with Yu Yu Hakusho. I got used to the subtitled, and then I wanted to keep watching it, even when new dubs came out. Um, that's kind of how I feel about Dragon Ball in a way, which I never particularly loved the dub, but then the sub just became the thing I like. Um, I'm going on another Pat Bear rant here, but those are my favorite dubs. As I said, let me know below what you think. What are your favorites? Have you watched all the ones on the list here, or do you watch them in subtitles instead? Is there a show that I'm like, should I have been talking about at this era? Outlaw Star and Trigun, and like, if you're saying like, hey, you know what dub's really good? Samurai Pizza Cats, and I'll say Samurai Pizza Cats is a good dub because they completely reworked all the scripts because the comedy wouldn't translate. So it is a good dub, but it's not a faithful. But that's okay because it's on purpose. And there are two episodes they did not make a dub of. So there are two more subtitled out there for you to find them. They're on Crunchyroll. You can watch them. But anyway, let me know your favorites. And then, like I said, suggestions for future videos. I've got one in the back of my head that will be a future video probably. I need to do more research for it, but I need to solidify my opinion on it. But I do think that there's a case to be made for that. Some shows don't need a second season of anime, and if you want more of it, just read the manga. Because recently there have been second seasons of some shows that I didn't think were good, and maybe it could have just been that. Because when you're taking the manga or the light novel, you can put 12 episodes together that feel like a whole season, whereas manga is monthly releases or every other week or every other month, and continuing the stories, and doesn't always fit in 12 episodes. And there are some recent cases that was like, nothing really happened that season. I don't know, more of the same but not enough. So anyway, that's a future video probably, but if you give me a great idea, maybe I'll just take that idea and make that the next video. I don't know. Leave a comment below. I've said that a dozen times. Hey, like the video. Share it with a friend. If you've been having the subs versus dub argument all the time, and you've been saying there are good dubs out there, maybe this will help your argument. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.